for sectioning grapefruit and all that kind of stuff. And then you just mention the boning knife. Okay, so you say we also have a boning knife which is better for here's what the boning knife's for, which is like the trimmer, except it's a little bit more flexible, and it's good for butterflying pork chop or lamb, or deskinning or deboning vegetables. So it's good for butterflying pork chop and lamb chops. It's also good for deboning stuff and deskinning stuff. The trimmer's a little bit challenging to skin stuff with because of the double D edge. Okay? Then you do your spatula spreader like normal. You do your petite carver like normal. You do your turning fork, normal. Butcher knife, okay? I wish Natasha was here, okay? The butcher knife, you do the butcher knife, and then you compare it to, obviously, what? No? Cleaver. There you go, okay? Compare it to the cleaver, okay? Because people think of a boning knife, they get a butcher knife, they think it's a cleaver. It's not a cleaver, okay? Natasha's had 3 customers break their butcher knife because they're trying to cut through bones with the butcher knife, okay? It doesn't cut through bones. That's why you have a cleaver, okay? So you go, the butcher knife is for disjoining chicken, okay? The cleaver is for like cleaving through stuff, okay? So the butcher knife, you just kind of rotate it. It's also good as a melon knife. You wouldn't take a watermelon and use a cleaver on it. That don't work, okay? So this is, with the butcher knife, you just rock it in and you push down. With a cleaver, you chop it, okay? It's an actual chopping knife. So it's really good these two work together, okay? Everybody getting this? So you're kind of tying this in. All right? So next up is the chef knife. And then you mention the vegetable knife and the santoku knife. So you do your chef knife as normal, and then you go, now, Mrs. Jones, we also have what's called a vegetable knife. The vegetable knife is known as the fun knife. By the way, the vegetable knife is the fun knife. I love the vegetable knife. Okay? I go, Mrs. Jones, it's like, by the way, here's another thing. Write this down. Get your manager to get you the knives. Get these knives, okay? Get your manager to get you the knives by you advertising or doing something that would improve the quality of life for your team and get you knives. Okay, so go to your manager. By the way, I did that with Jamie. Jamie is like, hey, he's like, I need this, and I said, hey, you sell $1,000 this week, you get it, right? He didn't sell 1,000, he didn't get it, but hey, he had an opportunity. Okay, I guarantee you, if you go to your managers and say, hey, I'll do this, and and if it's warrant of a knife, if you say I'll sell a trimmer today, give me a butcher knife, I'm going to say no. Okay, but if you set up a little mini contest and hit it, okay, so. All right, so anyway, so the vegetable knife is the fun knife. Have any of you used a vegetable knife? I don't have one. Where is my vegetable knife? Okay, isn't it fun?
Dude, I remember like when you were doing a workshop like this like 2 years ago, and you took it out, and you took some like stick of paint or something sticky with. You had a hugest smile.
It's fun. I love it. Okay, the thing is like. Okay, and then you scoop it all up and you throw it around, and it's really awesome. Okay, like it's really fun. All right, so you can't have fun if you don't have one. You gotta get one. Okay, so get yourself a fun knife. Okay, Ms. Jones, this is the fun knife. By the way, you can do that with whatever, right? I've already done that. I've sold you guys on it, right? I haven't shown you anything, right? And you can scoop it up. It's real fat and thick. Okay, Mr. Jones, it's really cool. Look at this thing. It's like a big square, okay? And it's awesome. You go, you ever see that on TV? And then you whip it up and you whip it on the thing. And you throw it like in a wok and you go, okay? And it's kind of cool because you can whip it all up and you hold the wok up here and you go, okay? And you catch it. It's really awesome, okay? You're like, okay? And it's funny because you can't do all that stuff, but it's fun. They throw food all over the place. I go, do you have a wok? They go, yeah, let's get some. Let's try it. And you just throw food all over the kitchen. I did that twice. It was great. Oh, I forgot about that back in the day. A lot of fun. Anyway, so I'm like, I'm not good at it. So anyway, throw carrots. I just threw the carrots all over the place. Cabinets. It's great. So it's like, that sounds cool. Let's try it. I'm like, okay. Okay, so anyway. Alright, so the next one, the santoku knife, is the sushi knife. Okay, this is awesome, Ms. Jones. Now, Ms. Jones, do you cook sushi? No. If you had this knife, you would. Okay? That's what you tell them, all right? So if you had this knife, you would. You know why? Because it comes to a sharp point. Also call it the Rachel Ray knife. This is the one that Rachel uses all the time. And it's like a chef knife because you can rock it, but it also comes to a sharp point so you can do detail work, okay? And it's really cool because you can, like, I mean, literally you can make little stars and shapes, and, you know, you take a fish and you can make, and you just use the point of it, and then you can chop it up, and it's really awesome. I mean, it's just fun to do. Just keep saying that. It's fun to do. Like, oh, it's fun to do. I want to have fun. All right. So anyway, so that's that. So now you've mentioned those. Now the slicer, you say, by the way, the slicer comes in two sizes. So you do your slicer. You go, Mr. Jones, it comes in two sizes. So you have a petite slicer and you have a longer slicer. Your traditional slicer is for warm bread and ice cream cake and angel food cake. Your petite slicer is good for like the dinner table when you're so like if you have muffins or bagels, you know, for breakfast, or those like triple decker sandwiches. You don't want to take out you don't want to take out a long one, just take out the mini one, and you can cut that. Okay. The carving set, you get the carving knife and the carving fork. And the last tool in the set is the table knives, Mrs. Jones. And this basically brings the tradition of carving back to the table, which is really important. And you do the whole thing with the carving knife. I mean, if you don't know how to do it, I'm sorry. But you just go through the whole story, okay? You know, Miss Jones is kind of cool. You just, and then after you're done cutting, it goes. It's awesome, okay? By the way, there's a little carving guide that comes with our set that shows you exactly how to carve up a turkey. So look, I mean, you just look professional. It's awesome. And you pass around. People sit, they're like, wow, that was pretty cool. This whole bird just like falls apart into pieces. Doesn't, but they just visualize that. Okay, like a transformer. All right. So anyway. All right. So now, Miss Jones. So now you've already done the specialty knives. So you pretty much talked about all the specialty knives. And then what you do is, so after you do the table knives, okay. You do the table knives. Selling table knives, there's a video on selling table knives. I'm not going to go through the whole thing on selling table knives, but the main thing you want to talk about is cleaning, okay? Ms. Jones, do you like washing dishes? No, neither do I. This saves you a lot of time washing dishes. Because you don't have to have butter knives and steak knives, especially if you have 6 people at the table. Instead of having 12 knives in there, you only have 6. You don't have to do 2 loads in the dishwasher, all that stuff. Okay? So no butter knives, no steak knives. Plus, it's not as messy. Your table isn't as messy. Your kids, Miss Jones, kids cut stuff like this, and throw food all over the plate. So this thing can go straight down, so you don't have to pick up the plate and have to throw out your tablecloth, okay, and wash it. So it keeps your tablecloth a lot nicer because people aren't going back and forth and knocking things off the tablecloth or not off the plate. It's also great for salad, Mrs. Jones, so that way when you have, it saves you time. By the way, if you want to do it, what saves you time, Mrs. Jones, is throwing cherry tomatoes in there as opposed to full tomatoes, okay? But most people don't use cherry tomatoes because you can't ever stab the stupid things, okay, with a fork, all right? And you end up, scooping everything out of the whole bowl, or you eat all the lettuce out and then you have the tomatoes left at the end, okay? And then you stick the whole thing in your mouth and you shoot juice all over the place, okay? So with that, Mr. Jones, with these, you can go straight down into your bowl, and you just shoof, and you cut right through those cherry tomatoes. You can push straight down through them. Hey, watch this. Watch, you'll even cut straight down to leather. Oh, see that? Cherry tomato doesn't have a chance. Okay, so you go right through there, you cut it all up. Not to mention, a lot of times when they have salad, Mr. Jones, you can't ever cut up salad, so you have to cut it really small, because if you cut it up, it all comes out of the bowl, and you end up, eating off the table. All right, so and then you don't want to do this all the time, crunching the lettuce into your mouth, trying to do that, getting, salad dressing on your face. It's no good. So it's much better, if you just cut it up yourself. So you just tell people, here's your table knife, and just go into your salad and push down and cut it all up. It saves you a lot of time, a lot of energy. Beautiful. Okay. Great. Now, the only ones that you haven't talked about yet are the Hardy slicer. So now, once you do all your table, you do all this, right? So you do all these. You do all this, right? Okay? You talked about a couple of them as you were doing this, right? So now you go, now Mrs. Jones. So I already talked about the cleaver. I told you about the vegetable knife. I already told you about the Santoku knife and the petite chop. The other one here is the Hardy slicer, okay? So you got to sell them on the Hardy slicer. The Hardy slicer it's like mom's cleaver, Mrs. Jones. Okay? This is good for going through pepperoni, blocks of cheese, fine fish bones. This thing is a beast. It'll go right through an avocado pit. It'll go right through a peach pit. It'll go right through a mango pit. You didn't know this? It's really cool. Okay? Bring a mango or bring an avocado and just have them slice right through it. It's awesome. They're like, no way. Okay, so now another great add-on is the cheese knife, Mr. Jones. That doesn't come in the actual Ultimate set, but it is something that, or the complete set, never called the Ultimate. It is something that's an add-on. You also have the salmon knife. This is the only other specialty knife I haven't talked about yet, and this one is great. It's super flexible. Okay, this is another one I would say here, guys. If you're hunting to get more cutco from your manager somehow, some way, here's the things you need.